What's up guys, Rogue9 here, and by popular demand, today we explore the upcoming change to the health system in Rainbow Six Siege. What is this change going to be? Well, instead of working via a damage multiplier system like it does now, where 2 armors only take 90% gunshot damage and 3 armors take 80%, Siege will be switching to an absolute health system where each operator will take full damage, but 2 armors have 110 total HP and 3 armors have 125 HP. In addition to that, Rook plates will no longer add a 0.85 damage multiplier to your operator, but will add 20 permanent hit points instead. So, 1 armors go to 120 HP, 2 armors to 130, and 3 armors to 145. Initially, this change was supposed to go live with Operation North Star, but it appears that it has been pushed back for undisclosed technical reasons. Nevertheless, it is still worth discussing what this change will mean for the game once it goes live, and I can tell you right now that not only will all gadgets with constant health effects be getting nerfed, so that's anything to do with tick damage or healing, but the change also means many buffs and some nerfs for literally dozens of weapons at close and long ranges. So come and see what the new damage system will mean for Siege once it goes live. Or maybe I should say if it goes live. I mean, it's probably coming at some point, just maybe not this season. Or next. I mean, it could be year 7, but probably no later than that. Let's start with the simple stuff. Constant health effects, subsection A, the good kind of health effects, i.e. healing. As of right now, there are 3 healers in the game. Finker on attack, who thanks to this season's update now provides permanent health boosts instead of temporary ones, and on defense there are Doc and Thunderbird. Each one of these healers might use different delivery methods, a giant-ass blow dart with a needle large enough to cause actual bodily harm, a set of automated air cannons that fire what appear to be very, very large suppositories. Lube up and bend over before use, I guess. And of course, millions of prototype nanobots already swimming through the bloodstreams of each and every attacker on Team Rainbow, just waiting for that time when you wear rubber-soled shoes while walking on a synthetic carpet, resulting in a minor static shock that will fry the nanobots' teensy-weensy control chips, causing them to malfunction and basically liquidize you from the inside out. But despite the differing delivery method for each gadget, they are the same when it comes to supplying health to your character in-game, in that they provide a fixed amount of HP with every single application. 40 for Doc, 30 for Thunderbird, and 20 for Finker, no matter what your operator's armor rating. And that makes total sense. Why would the clothing you wear influence the amount of health you get from a secret cocktail of magical drugs that are probably highly addictive, but let's not talk about that. Here's the thing though, because of the damage multiplier system that the game has used since launch until now, the hit points of the 2 higher armor tiers are actually worth more than those of 1 armors. In practice, because of the 90 and 80% multipliers I mentioned at the beginning, the HP of 2 armors is actually worth 111.11, and for 3 armors, it's 125 HP. So, when healers provide HP to their targets, the higher armor ratings actually get an 11.11 or 25% boost in terms of the value provided to them by that health top-up. Now, if the game switches to an absolute system, where armor just means extra HP, this benefit is getting lost, and that means an overall nerf for healing gadgets, because you're going to have to use more applications of these gadgets to refill higher armor operators. If we move on to subsection B, the bad kind of constant health effects, then essentially the same effect applies to them. They are also getting nerfed. Anything to do with poison, fire, electricity, or fucking lasers will continue to do their fixed damage per shot or per tick, but once 2 or 3 armors have more health, this will mean that they become harder to take down with these gadgets. Operators affected by this nerf are Smoke, Tachanka, Capitao, Goyo, Legion, Maestro, Clash, Twitch, Zero, Aruni, Gridlock, and anything electrocuted by Bandit or Kaid. Against level 1 armors, nothing will change, but against level 2 or 3 armors, all of these gadgets will lose their 11.11 and 25% damage boost respectively. The conclusion of chapter 1 of this video is that all constant health effects, whether good or bad, are getting nerfed. Heavier armor characters will in future require more stims to heal them back up, but also more gadget damage to bring them down. This video is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet, and they still have their Father's Day campaign running up on their site, and this is your final chance to pick up a great gift for your dad at a limited time discount. I've amassed quite a nice little selection of these wallets by now, and at this stage it's difficult for me to pick which one is my favorite. Check out their full range by going to ridge.com/rogue9 and use the code DAD15 at checkout for a 15% discount. If you're watching this video in future, you can still use the code ROGUE9 for a 10% discount. Over to the next chapter, explosives. Here is a quick reminder of the damage done by all of the major types of explosives. The hardest hitting ones are fuses, cluster pucks, and nitro cells with 180 points of damage up to a range of 3 meters. Hand grenades and claymores do 150 damage up to 3 meters. Ash's 40mm breaching rounds do 90 damage, and Kapkan's EDDs, Sophia's explosive grenades, and impact grenades do 60 damage, with all of these lower damage explosives experiencing immediate damage drop-off as soon as your target goes beyond 1 meter. But of course, that is only the baseline damage taken by 1 armor operators. 2 armors only take 85% explosive damage, and 3 armors only take 75%. Notice how these multipliers are stronger than for bullets, which still do 90% and 80% damage respectively. And as you can see, that can make quite a difference in terms of the actual damage these operators experience. Under the current system, Rook plates do not reduce the damage taken by explosive gadgets, but they do still provide the hidden bonus effect of guaranteeing 1 down but not out state. So if you're wearing Rook plates, you will always only ever be taken down by an explosion, no matter how strong it is. So what happens if these multipliers are retired and armor just means more health? Well, for explosives, this is in fact a tiny bit of a buff and at the same time a nerf. Nitro cells and cluster charges are enough to kill any operator, unless of course you're standing far enough away, and that won't change under the proposed new system. Hand grenades and claymores under the current system will only ever down 3 armor operators, but after the change, 125 HP will not be enough to survive a 150 hit point explosion, making these mid-tier explosives fully lethal. The lighter explosives of course aren't lethal anyway, but the 2 heavier armor classes will still take proportionately more damage in future despite the additional hit points they will carry. So that's the buff part, but if there's a Rook in play, that's when the nerf hits. Once Rook plates just add extra health, then they 100% will work against explosive damage, unlike now where explosions ignore the additional armor. And finally, last but not least, the slightly more complex topic of regular firearms. As of right now, there are 87 different guns in the game, excluding the shotguns, because messing around with shotgun damage is a whole different can of worms all onto its own. And to evaluate these 87 guns, I created a neat little spreadsheet with 147 columns and close to 2,400 lines. I will not bore you with all of the details. In fact, I will not bore you with any details. You already know the basic principle that we're investigating here, right? The current health system uses multipliers, but in future it is going to be extra HP, and all I really did here was calculate the shots to down or kill and the time to down or kill under the old system and under the new system and compared the two. I did that for every gun, against all 3 armor types, at all ranges, for body strikes without Rook plates and with Rook plates, as well as for limb strikes without and with Rook plates. If you're really interested in all of the nuts and bolts of this sheet, then first of all, I salute you, fellow nerd, and second of all, you can check the description below for a link to the sheet including all of the formulas I used. The most important part, of course, are the results. Since the new system does not affect level 1 armors at all, it is great to see no difference at all for level 1 armors. No major fuck-ups so far, hooray! But as soon as we go beyond level 1s, things become a little bit trickier. Now, one thing you will see in basically every situation is that loads of guns will see mini buffs or nerfs at individual points during the damage drop-off. What this means is that during the drop-off, the distance at which you need 1 extra shot just starts 1 or 2 meters later or earlier than before. Take for instance the CSRX here. Under the current health system, you will go from 1 to 2 body shots against level 2 armors at 31 meters. With the new system, that changes to 32 meters. It's basically pretty meaningless in terms of affecting the game, but I just wanted to point out what you're seeing here. Now I'll give you a brief scroll across all of this detailed info, but I'm not going to break it down individually. Feel free to pause if necessary. So that's the quite cumbersome overview. Here's a cool summary I made. These two tables show you which guns get a significant buff or nerf at short or long range for the 12 different cases depending on armor type, rook plates or strike location. And in the final 2 columns of each table, I've summarized the summaries to show the total number of shots to kill saved and the total number of shots to kill added. And what this shows us is that at short range, it's the ACS-12, a couple of LMGs, the mid-strength assault rifles plus Twitch's F2, most of the machine pistols, and a good number of the pistols that will experience mild buffs under the new system, while the low-powered SMGs are getting slightly stronger buffs, with the P90 receiving the greatest benefit. In 6 out of 12 cases, you will soon need 1 shot less up until ranges of at least 18 meters. At long range, the general picture is similar, but overall with significantly more gains across more guns. Highlights here are the F2, machine pistols, a lot of the SMGs, particularly Mute's MP5K and Ella's Scorpion, and last but not least, Caveira's Louison and the Polish RG15. Of course, I must point out that the real value of these long-range gains is questionable. For instance, for the RG15 against level 3 armors plus rook plates with leg shots, we're talking of needing 11 shots instead of 12. Big whoop. Yes, that is an extreme case, but even in the best cases, so torso hits with no plates, we're still looking at 5 instead of 6 shots even for the stronger weapons. The simple fact is that at these ranges, the winner of the gunfight is usually the player that lands the first headshot. And that's it. To summarize, healers are getting nerfed. They will need more stims to heal up higher armor operators. Fixed damage gadgets are getting nerfed. They will need longer to take down heavier armor. Explosives are getting a tiny buff against the heavier armor levels, but they will also no longer be able to ignore rook plates in future. And standard firearms will see mostly buffs in specific armor and strike location combos, with the P90 standing out as the biggest gainer at the ranges that count the most. What are your thoughts on this change? Will it actually make the game simpler and easier to understand for you, or is this one of those fixes that nobody asked for and that achieves very little? Leave a comment to let me know, and also feel free to leave a like if you appreciate this type of info. Many thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.